Hi there, my name is Taro Iwamoto. I am a Feldenkrais practitioner. And in this video, I'm going to share some movement strategies and tips to reduce the stress to your low back while washing the dishes. So, washing the dishes is what I consider extension stress to your low back. So the standing, it increases the arch extension in your low back, and then on top of that, you're having to bend over a little bit while you're washing the dishes. So therefore, as you wash dishes for a while, your back and muscles starts to get tired because of increased extension stress to your low back, and then your lower back muscles are constantly working to keep your posture, to hold your posture. So how do you change that? There are a couple ways to do that. And so looking from my martial arts and the Feldenkrais movement background, and so how to reduce and counteract that extension stress and while you're standing. There is a way to do that. So first, you want to pay attention to your stance. So how you stand. And narrow base of support, you're standing with the feet close together, and doesn't give you a good base of support, and so that it's already challenging and for your back. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to increase the base of support. And in the martial arts and Tai Chi, karate, and it's called the horse stance, like a riding a horse. Okay. So it's a little bit wider than your hip width apart. And just by doing that alone, and you have much better support, and then much better for your back, easier for your back, just as standing. And on top of that, as you're getting into the horse stance, wider support, and then you think about, you're not really trying to tighten your abdominal muscles and trying to tuck your tail, not that much, but think about just naturally let your tail to drop down a little bit, and which will reduce the stress at the extension to your back. Okay, so you're not really doing this, don't exaggerate that, but just think about allowing your tail to drop. Okay, and it makes it easier when you let your knees bend a little bit, not so much that you are squatting, okay? But instead of locking your knees, I'm just going to call it the soft knees. Unlock your knees and let your knees bend just a little bit, and then that'll make it easier to just allow the tailbone to drop down a little bit to flatten your back. Okay, so you can just practice that. This is the martial arts stance, or the Tai Chi stance, horse stance, wider base of support, and then unlocking your knees, softening your knees as you let your knees bend a little bit, and then also allow your tailbone to drop a little bit. Okay, and then get close to your sink. Then you can maintain that, and then moving from the hips. And do that, okay? Wash the dishes. So now you're using a different base of support, better base of support, and also using a different strategies and to reduce an extension stress to your low back, and do that. And that's one way, but I don't always do this way. I use a different stance. So instead of standing with feet parallel, I use straddle stand. I use a different stride, and so I call it the split stance. One foot is in front, and so they're just a little bit wide, but the hip width apart, and then longer stride. And they don't have to be too long, just so that they're not parallel, and you place 1 foot forward, and same ideas, okay? Letting your knees bend a little bit and let your tail to drop. Okay, and then get yourself as close to the sink as possible, and then maintaining that same shape of your back and then bending from the hips, hinging at the hips, and then get yourself closer there, okay? And I forgot to mention to pay attention to your feet, and then just to use your feet and press your feet lightly into the ground to provide a support from the ground up. And that will reduce the stress to your back, okay? So once you maintain that, getting into the position, and then now you're in a better position, biomechanically better position, and so that you can do the dishes without straining your low back muscles, not quite as much. And be sure to change your stance so you're not using the same stance all the time, and distributing the stress and effort and muscular work and then differently, okay? So you change your stance, same thing, just let your knees bend a little bit, not the deep squatting positions, but let your knees bend, let your tail to drop, maintaining that same shape of your spine, hinging at the hips, just enough that you can get to the dishes and do that. Okay, so those are the movement strategies. And then here's another one. Use the step stool, 4 inches to maybe 6 inches or so. And this is a nice way to reduce the stress and extension stress to your low back. So you put one foot up on the stool. Okay, so what it does is, if you pay attention, just standing upright, and then just to feel the arch in your low back as you're standing without doing anything. Just notice the natural extension in your spine. Not saying that is a bad thing, but just to notice the shape of your spine. So there's a little bit of arch, right? And for some people, prolonged arching and standing activities, that can be problematic, and that's why I'm sharing this video. So, and notice what happens when you place, let's say, your left foot up on a small step stool. And do you notice the change in the shape of your spine? Can you feel that the arch in your back, so the extension reduced a little bit by placing your foot up on a step? Okay, so what happens is you're changing, you're flexing the hip and to counteract and then to reduce an extension. So this is a really nice strategy, and then you pay attention to the shape of your back, and then bending at the hips, okay? And then you can do the dishes. This is a really nice, nice tool that you can utilize, and this for most people it works really well. And similarly, you want to switch your feet, so it's not the same side always. And then make sure you put your foot and put your stool up against the counter, okay, and then so that you can get as close to the sink as possible. And this is the basics, and so you don't want to. It doesn't matter whether you use these strategies, reduce an extension, whether you use a small step stool. If you are too far away from the sink, and then you end up bending over too much, and that is going to increase an extension stress, and so you will probably have some discomfort in your back after a while. So just to be mindful of those things, get closer to the sink, get as close to the sink as possible, and then pay attention to that stance, how you position your feet, and then experiment and use the different standing positions, your feet positions. Parallel, a little bit wider apart, horse stance, and the split stance, one foot in front, and then knees a little bit bent, not straight, no lock in the knees, and allowing the tailbone to drop a little bit, but without really forcefully tucking your tail and tightening the abdominals. No need to do that, okay? So that's going to be straining after a while, so don't do that. Just naturally let your tail to drop, and then bending from the hips, so there's no change in the shape of your spine, and then now you're in a position, then you can do that. And then once you start doing that, and also don't get stuck in the same position, and pay attention and then change position, and so often, so that you can distribute the amount of work and strain to your back. All right, and I hope this is helpful for you. And if you have any questions, and please leave a comment in the comment section and let me know if you have any requests and need help in other activities and household activities, let me know. I'll be happy to share movement strategies and tips with you. All right, so thanks for watching, and if you like this video, don't forget to smash the like button, and if you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe. All right, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in next video. Bye bye.